Good evening on Veterans Day 2021. To all who have served and all those who continue to serve, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, your bravery, and your courage. I'm Julie Kane, the chair of Swords to Plowshares Board of Directors. It is an honor to welcome you and thank you for joining us. We are grateful to you for being with us tonight to honor veterans, and we are thankful for your ongoing support. Tonight is a very special milestone. It is our 25th annual Veterans event and our 47th year serving veterans in the community. This annual event raises critical funds for Swords to Plowshares wraparound programs that served unhoused, low income, and at-risk veterans with disabilities and other challenges. We are grateful to those of you who joined us in person last night for the concert and reception. Everyone said it was wonderful to be together again, even as a smaller group. Here's a little clip of last night's festivities.
Tonight is the 25th Swords to Plowshares annual celebration for veterans.
Tonight we celebrate the opening of the Edwin M. Lee Apartments. It was dedicated to our former mayor. And I remember working with him when I was a member of the Board of Supervisors, and he made it his mission to end homelessness for veterans in San Francisco. And with this development and future developments and the investment in our homeless recovery plan, we are well on our way to doing just that.
They just really care so much about their mission, and you can feel it. And I've seen firsthand the impact it has on veterans that have been homeless, really build new lives because of Swords to Plowshares.
We're so thankful to be able to work with Swords, whose approach to service mirrors our own, focusing on the whole person and finding solutions for our clients that meets them where they are. From housing needs to job training, counseling, and legal services, you name it, Swords is there for our veterans.
It's really an honor to work with an organization that is so much got its things together that it really knows how to help veterans who've served our country.
Swords recognized my humanity, and they recognized my service to my country and gave me another opportunity through the legal aid program to restore my honor. And now I have a chance to serve other veterans and that I didn't have before.
I think the thing about swords is that they will always be there for any veteran, no matter who that person is. And they will be there before the conflict, during, and after.
As the board chair, I'm so proud of what this amazing organization has accomplished. Providing supportive housing to 500 veterans, helping hundreds more veterans and their families pay rent and find affordable housing, getting veterans the VA healthcare and benefits they need with the support of our legal team, and providing critical mental health programming. But beyond the work that SWORDS has done for decades, the past year and a half has been trying, as we all know. With residents and unsheltered veterans relying on day-to-day services in person, our staff never quit. They have been there every day fulfilling our mission, and they have been resilient and responsive and courageous. A sincere thank you to the entire dedicated staff and our community partners who have stayed by our side. I'm a veteran myself. I am a naval aviator who flew the Sea King helicopter and was stationed in Subic Bay, Hubie Point in the Philippines just after Desert Storm. More recently, I joined the California State Guard and spent 2.5 weeks helping CAL FIRE and the Army National Guard with the Dixie wildfire. I know firsthand the importance and value of community for veterans. The Swords to Plowshare community and support system is second to none for the mission they serve and provides invaluable service to the Bay Area's most vulnerable veterans. This year, we have set a goal of $500,000 in fundraising. Proceeds will support the 500 veterans that live in our supportive housing in San Francisco. Funds raised tonight will go directly to these veterans through programs throughout the year, such as enhanced food and meals, community engagement activities, mental health programming like equine therapy and training service animals. Your funds will support the critical programs that keep our veterans stably housed and healthy and improve the quality of their lives. To donate tonight, please use the link at the bottom of your screen or text VDD25 to 50155. And now I'm pleased to introduce Michael Blecker, our Executive Director. Michael joined Swords to Plowshares as an intern in the Legal Services Department back in 1976 and was promoted to Executive Director in 1982. Only 6 years later. He is a pioneer and recognized nationally as being at the forefront of veterans movements, with a special focus on ensuring that the underserved and most vulnerable veterans get the support that they should. As a Vietnam combat veteran, Michael is motivated with firsthand experience and understands that war causes wounds and that the suffering among veterans lasts far beyond the battlefield. When Swords to Plowshares first opened, it operated with a single grant from the Department of Labor and the initial scope of helping veterans get jobs and support with their VA claims. Today, under his leadership, Swords has grown from a few veterans helping their peers to what it is today, an incredible staff of 200 serving 3,000 veterans each year with the most comprehensive array of wraparound services. Thank you, Michael, for your service, your leadership, and for all you have done and continue to do for veterans.
Good evening. We're thrilled to have you join us tonight. Together, we pay tribute to veterans. And we thank the generous community and dedicated staff, board, and volunteers who made it possible to provide wraparound care for those we serve. We are so grateful to our community of supporters, in particular the generous supporters of our Veterans Day celebrations. There are many generous supporters to thank. Please take a moment to see the full list on our website. I want to thank Ron Conway for contributing an incredibly generous $100,000. Ron was a generous contributor to our Ed M. Lee apartment project years ago, providing some of the seed money to construct new housing for 62 vets and 57 families. And to Craig Newmark Philanthropies for a $50,000 gift. Craig is a tremendous champion for vets and gives so generously of his time, talents, and money to support organizations like us. And a very big shout out to John Kecker, a Vietnam vet, a longtime advisory board member and friend, who generously donated $25,000 in memory of his loving wife, Tina Kecker. And what lies beneath the surface of our work really is, I would say, the concept of really restoring justice. And that was a big motivator for such a champion like Gordy Erspamer, who was just driven to restore justice in his work when he was Morrison and Forrester as an attorney there, dedicated so much time to ensure that civil rights of veterans were obtained. And these are vets who face lots of injustices. And that's why we were, instrumental in, providing the policy we needed. That's why we convinced the VA to open its doors to homeless vets. That's why we were involved with creating a national coalition for homeless vets. Just all down the line. First permanent supportive housing program for veterans in the country was in the Presidio, where it remains today for 108 vets. We've always welcomed bad paper vets. We've always recognized some of the injustice they face as active duty members. And that's where some of the restoring of justice has to take place. And we've been involved with advocating at that level as well. So there are countless ways we can do that, but it all starts with that direct care and learning about what their needs are, and then taking those lessons and advocating. And I'm so proud of that work. So we've really raised a large amount of money this year, and we want to thank you all, really. But I guess I need to give a special big thank you to Wells Fargo for stepping up as our title sponsor this year with a generous $50,000. We're grateful for Wells' investment in addressing homelessness and creating new housing. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Katie Fitzsimmons, Vice President of Community Relations in San Francisco. She's been a great champion for SWORDS. So please welcome Katie Fitzsimmons.
Hello, my name is Katie Fitzsimmons, and I'm Vice President for Wells Fargo's Community Relations team here in San Francisco. And I want to thank you for joining us for Swords to Plowshares annual Veterans Day celebration. First, I'd like to acknowledge Swords to Plowshares and your steadfast commitment to veterans for nearly 50 years. As someone who is proud to have many veterans in my family, and simply as a U.S. citizen, I value and respect the role you play in this country. Wells Fargo and Swords to Plowshares relationship expands over nearly a decade. We're proud to support their work to restore dignity, hope, and self-sufficiency to all veterans in need. Over the last decade, Wells Fargo has provided philanthropic support to SWORD's critical work of providing housing, health, economic stability, and housing stability. This includes the critical work that SWORDS does to provide permanent supportive housing to homeless veterans. In addition to philanthropic support, Wells Fargo has financed 2 of Swords to Plowshares affordable housing projects. This includes, in 2012, the Veteran Commons Project that built 75 units of affordable housing for veterans. And again in 2020, when we helped to partner together to build the Edwin M. Lee Apartments, which built 62 units of affordable housing for homeless veterans and 56 units of affordable housing for families. I want to thank Swords to Plowshares and the work that they do to support veterans each and every day here in the Bay Area and beyond. We appreciate you. And thank you to our veterans. Your service and sacrifice is so appreciated. And thank you to your families and their service and sacrifice as well. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mo Sidor, the Director of Legal Services at Swords to Plowshares. As many of you know, our team of attorneys at Swords provides critical legal services to veterans seeking VA disability compensation benefits, access to VA healthcare, and military discharge upgrades. We work hard to dispel the myths that veterans receive benefits automatically and that all veterans can go to the VA for healthcare. Many veterans have to fight for these benefits, and that's where our dedicated team of staff attorneys comes in. But we don't do it alone. We have wonderful pro bono partners from nearly 40 law firms and corporations here in the San Francisco Bay Area legal community. These attorneys are critical to meeting the needs of the hundreds of veterans that we help each year. This is why we honor one firm or company each year with the Pro Bono Partner of the Year award. I'm so very pleased to present this award to Seyfarth Shaw this year for their tireless efforts to support our veteran clients. Our partnership with champion Shireen Wetmore at our side has been particularly impactful. Seyfarth's work with Swords has focused on helping former service members who were kicked out of the military or denied benefits after they experienced rape, sexual assault, or sexual harassment. We help numerous veterans each year who were assaulted in service. To give you a sense of the scale of this problem, last year alone, 6,300 incidents of rape or sexual assault were reported in the military, and the Department of Defense estimates that an additional 14,000 were assaulted but never reported it. Because the vast majority of rapes and assaults go unreported, these cases often hinge on what evidence can be found in the veteran's military file and medical records to support their claim. Seyfarth's attorneys have provided countless hours of legal help combing through these voluminous records to help find the necessary evidence to get them the justice they deserve. It is my pleasure to introduce Shireen Wetmore from Seyfarth Shaw. Congratulations, Seyfarth, and thank you to all of the attorneys who dedicated their time and effort to this important work with us.
Seyfarth first got involved with Swords to Plowshares when Mo Sidor, who is now the Director of Legal Services at Swords, came to our offices and gave a presentation just talking generally about Swords to Plowshares and the type of work that Swords does. And the attorneys were immediately excited about it. And so that partnership started in 2015, and we've been working with Swords to Plowshares ever since. We eventually started working on these clinics that were focused on the military sexual trauma, and I think some of the just astonishing statistics that we were learning from Swords about these veterans and the instances of assault in the military, you couldn't set that aside. We had to be involved and we had to do something. The case that I keep going back to is this woman who came up to our desk at the East Bay stand down. She had suffered from military sexual trauma, both within her service and also some domestic violence in her personal life. And knowing that she could come forward confidently and speak to us, that there was a team of people available to listen to her story, and that it wasn't just going to end with an intake or a small amount of services at East Bay stand down, but that it was going to be able to get passed on to a caseworker, that there was someone who was going to be able to help her with the resources she needed for school, for getting childcare for her daughter, for feeding her family. It was very moving to see how this little act of listening to her made such an impact, and it matched up so perfectly with our values. We came up with this new concept of a doc review where our attorneys would be trained to review these records, focus on triggers or evidence of military sexual trauma, and then work up the case file so that at the end of the project, our Seyfarth attorney would hand over a file and provide a little analysis of where we thought the strengths and weaknesses of that individual's case might be. Part of what I love so much about working with Swords is that Swords to Plowshares is always taking the holistic view of a person, of our clients, and the partnership with Seyfarth, with all of the different pro bonos from the many, many firms that support Swords to Plowshares is so incredible because all of us get to be a part of that holistic approach. And for me, it aligns very closely with Seyfarth's approach. As a firm, we're not tackling just one challenge that our clients are facing. We know that that challenge needs to be seen in the context of an entire business, an entire existence in our world, and how we fit and move and interact with the world around us. And Swords to Plowshares has that same community-focused value. It's just one of those things that I'm very thankful for the opportunity to work with Swords, and I'm hoping that we can keep this partnership going forever.
And now I have the great privilege to introduce to you Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Speaker Pelosi has served on our advisory board for nearly 2 decades. She's a fierce advocate for vets and for her community here in San Francisco. I'm often in awe of the fact that we have such an important, influential person on our side, and it really feels like she's on our side. She's been just a wonderful champion for Swords and for veterans, accomplishing so much in advocating for the resource veterans need, and most notably, she has been fiercely committed to preserving the VA, especially the VA's healthcare system, and fighting back against privatization. So we are honored to have Speaker Pelosi participate in our event this evening to honor veterans.
Hello. As House Speaker and a proud San Franciscan, it is my honor to bring warm greetings to the Swords to Plowshares virtual Veterans Day celebration. I'd like to extend a special thank you to your fearless leader and my good friend, Michael Blecker, for including me in this lovely program. Michael, you are a true American hero. I salute you for your ironclad commitment to improving the lives of your fellow veterans here in the Bay Area through Swords to Plowshares and across the country through your leadership on the VA's Commission on Care. For more than 4 decades, Swords has stood as a model for our nation, ensuring that everyone who has served our nation can live with dignity and stability in a safe, affordable home. And during the pandemic, you have been an essential force in helping meet the needs of our most vulnerable veterans. Indeed, you have been a valued partner for progress, and it's been a privilege to work closely with you, both as San Francisco's representative in Congress and as a member of your advisory board. Swords to Plowshares leadership has been critical to the Congress's work on a bipartisan basis to fight veteran homelessness, including with the HUD-VASH initiative, prevent homelessness among veterans' families with the Supportive Services for Veterans Families initiative, and protect homeless veterans from COVID with funding for rehousing in the Democrats' American Rescue Plan. It was an honor to join you on Mission Day this past May to celebrate the opening of the Edwin M. Lee Apartments, which offer a safe, affordable home to more than 100 low-income families and veterans. And I'm proud to be fighting to secure federal funding in this year's appropriations legislation toward a much-needed Veterans Community Center in San Francisco. This will help offer Bay Area veterans a sense of community and stability as we combat an escalating crisis of isolation among veterans in the wake of the pandemic. As we move forward, the Democratic Congress will continue to fight to end the scourge of veteran homelessness and honor our sacred duty to ensure no veteran is left behind when they come home. Thank you again for your committed partnership and patriotic public service, and best wishes for a wonderful celebration. Thank you.
Now it is my great privilege to introduce our Profiles of Courage honoree, Stephan Stephanides. The Profiles of Courage Awards have been the focal point of our annual Veterans Day events for 25 years. We honor veterans who have shown courage in the face of adversity. You'll hear from Stephan, who was unjustly kicked out of the military for being gay. You'll hear about the 30-year struggle they faced to get their life back. This is a story that must be told. Our nation has a shameful history of discarding LGBTQ service members, stripping them of their honor, their opportunity to serve, their livelihood, and their benefits. It has a serious ripple effect. For veterans like Stephan, being gay or trans-identified in the service resulted in severe abuse and harassment, getting kicked out with a less than honorable discharge, and for some, even time in the brig. And then with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the law was meant to be an improvement on the existing policy at the time, but it created a toxic environment for those who were forced to stay closeted. To serve, they had to compromise their integrity by being dishonest, a demand that was antithetical to the tenets of military service. While the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell 10 years ago eliminated important barriers, there remains significant work to correct the injustices still faced by those veterans who were kicked out of the military for being gay. Swords' legal team works with veterans who were kicked out for being gay and trans, helping them secure their benefits and correct their military records. Stefan's story is an incredible example of the courage of these veterans. We are honored to have helped Stefan secure the benefits that they have earned and deserve. Thank you for having the courage to ask for help, Stefan. Thank you for the courage in sharing your story with us. Congratulations.
Growing up, I wanted more than anything to be on board a ship. I wanted to sail. Every generation of our family, going back to at least 100 years, we've all served in the Navy. And I wanted to prove myself to my family that I'm like everybody else in the family, which especially because I'm not like everybody else in my family. I'm LGBTQ, and I feel like I had a little bit more to prove to them. We had the commissioning, and the president was there. My mother and father flew out. This was everything I had wanted in the Navy. We had all the pomp and circumstance. I'm in uniform. There's planes flying overhead. I'm on the deck of an aircraft carrier. My mother and dad are in a crowd crying tears of joy because they're so proud of me. And I'm thinking, this is it. This is exactly where I've always wanted to be. Shortly after the ship was commissioned, they found some magazines in my locker. That led to an investigation where I was called into the Naval Investigative Service, and they grilled me. They grilled me for hours, several days in a row. And the captain found me guilty of violating the UCMJ, the Article 102, which is the no homosexuality rule prior to Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I was found guilty, and I was sentenced immediately to 3 days in the brig on bread and water for being gay. I got home and my family did not want anything to do with me. They basically asked me to move out. I didn't really have any place to go. And I was drinking heavily to console myself. And that led to the use of heavier drugs because in my mind, I'm not fit for anything. You know, the Navy has convinced me that I'm really a lowlife. They were so nice. I met this guy, Gabe, who said, I understand that you were in the service. And I said, yeah, but, you know, I got an OTH. He thanked me for my service. He thanked me. He was the first person in 30 years that had thanked me for my service. And I couldn't believe it. I felt like a human being. The discharge was the number one reason that I was drinking and using to begin with. It's just like as soon as that changed, that I could have a life again, I thought, what am I wasting my time drinking and doing drugs for? I felt like Gabe saved my life, okay? But Bob gave me something to live for, because this new lease on life has allowed me to experience, for the first time, I'm able to creatively express myself. And not drinking or using, I've got all this energy. Capturing these stories is extremely important because we need to remember the way that LGBTQ sailors and soldiers were treated.
We are so grateful to you all for joining us this evening. Thank you for all your generosity. With your help, we raised over $500,000 to support our housing programs. If you'd still like to donate, please use the link below or text VDD25 to 50155. Thank you again, everyone, and good night. We look forward to next year.
My name is Alex Wu. I'm an associate at Cooley. Before I started practicing law, I was a United States Marine. I know everyone's experiences in the military are different, but I was blessed to serve on an incredible team and work with outstanding people with whom I forged deep relationships and bonds. And that is why I'm particularly grateful to be here with everyone tonight and to be able to say to Swords to Plowshares, thank you for the work that you do. And thank you for allowing folks like me to continue serving.
On behalf of the Golden State Warriors, I want to wish you all a very happy Veterans Day. We are proud to sponsor Swords to Plowshares celebration. I also want to commend Swords Executive Director and lifelong Warriors fan, Michael Blecker, for his years of service in advocating for our nation's heroes. Every year, as part of the NBA's Hoops for Troops program, our organization hosts a number of events for the various veterans and armed service members, including our neighbors right here in Mission Bay, the residents of the Edwin M. Lee Apartments. Additionally, we've continued to work in partnership with Swords to highlight veteran stories and sharing their experiences with our fans. As we honor those who have served, I wish you all a wonderful celebration today. Thanks for all that you do, and go Warriors.
Because while we're in the military, I had a purpose. Now, what's going to be my purpose? What's next?
I mean, you have other people behind you supporting you. You have other people who understand where you're coming from and where you're trying to go.